work to maintain tyre temperature, Casper?
Is the safety car for Aiden?
Aiden's had to come in. Now's a good time to catch up with the field.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Nice work, Casper. Push for 10th. See if you can salvage some points.
Yeah.
After Canada, the team really went nowhere. When they headed back to Europe, we were on the back foot compared to the rest of the midfield. You know, we dropped behind AlphaTauri, even Aston Martin, and of course McLaren and Ferrari ahead of us. And it didn't look good in Austria, especially the first half of the race. Aiden dropped out with mechanical issues. House had to drop to the back of the field as we took a gamble. We trusted Casper, strangely. After in Canada, again, the drivers were talking, and it was tense once again in the garages, and the Cold War had restarted. But Casper had been driving really well. Aiden was struggling the first half of the season, and with the way Casper was driving, you know, we saw what he did in like Zandvoort, he did in Bahrain, you know, driving through the field and making up positions on drivers like they weren't even there sometimes. And with him having half a race to go, you said, you know, why don't you just try and drive for the field? You have fresher tyres than anyone else. We believe in you. We believe in the DRS, how strong it is as a all-rounder. And Casper once again showed that he was definitely worth having in the team. He, despite all his issues with Aiden, he was still a top driver. He was perhaps one of the best drivers in the first half of the season, like right up there with the likes of a Hamilton and Verstappen. Didn't always get it right on a Saturday, but on a Sunday, more often than not, he was making moves, he was confident and looked incredibly in touch with the car. Like, it was in the groove. Aiden was, maybe in those second year, there was that sophomore slump was getting to him, and he was just not the same driver he was coming into F1 fresh off an F2 championship. The confidence wasn't there, and well, Casper definitely was, you know, on other ends of the scale, and that definitely did show in Austria. Aiden, he wasn't even driving that well all weekend for the mechanical issues. He was near the back anyway, and Casper was on the edge of the points, almost in Q3 once again, and it was fun watching the race. So this was like the Casper of old, the Casper from a decade ago we were seeing this first half of the season. We didn't really see it when he was alongside Aiden in his rookie year. Like, they just did not get on with each other or the car, and it just showed on the track. But maybe because Casper knew this was his last season right from the beginning, he just relaxed a bit more in the car, and, you know, he could drive the socks of it. And he was making some brilliant moves. Like, on almost every corner was a passing spot for him in Austria. Like, on the outside, on the inside, like, he was making moves where I've never seen them before. Like, into that penultimate corner. I've seen it in motorbike racing, but I'd never seen it in F1 car. And for Casper as well, again, past the likes of Butler as well, he was really struggling in the midfield, was Devon. He was holding everyone up once again in a race. You know, after some words you said earlier in the season, like, Devon was never on anybody's kind of list, shall we say, like, friendly drivers list. So always getting past him on track was always satisfying. And Casper, I think, was maybe one of the people who enjoyed it the most. And he walked past the lights of the curve. Like, in a car, like I said, the Ferrari was better, the AlphaTauri better heading to here, even the Alpine as well was getting better. Like, they had improved during the season, but there's no stopping Casper. There never is on top form. It was fantastic seeing the battle the likes of Alonso, like his fellow veterans as well, seeing these experienced campaigners, guys who had seen it all in F1, batting out on track, and Casper, in the space of a few laps, gone from the back to the points. And at this point, we're thinking, oh, he could maybe get a top 5. You know, he could probably not chase a podium. Like, Red Bull, Mercedes are a lot quicker. They had a bit of a gap as well. But he could have challenged for a bit more. But he did get a bit sloppy as he got a bit close to, I think it was Gasly. As Gasly was making the move, and on Sainz and Casper damaged the front wing. Like, he was in the groove. He was setting faster sectors at this point. And after that, it was a bit more of a defensive job for him. Again, just like Australia, he had to go a bit more within himself. Lucky with the DRS round here with the hard battling in front of him as well, that he could keep up the battle for 7th. But he was nowhere near the pace he was on before that hit. But yeah, did a superb move though, down the inside, 3 wide. You saw lots of 3 wides. Like, we saw 3, maybe even 4 wides during the race. Like, Casper had a good seat in the race to try and decide where to put the car as well in a couple of corners. Like, seeing all this battling in front, like, you could set up the corner basically on the entrance, like halfway down the straight, because you could see the battling in front, and then, you know, on the exit of that corner, you would already be alongside or ahead. The last few laps were nervy though. We were biting our fingernails as he was clinging on ahead of the likes of Sainz. The Ferraris were really hounding him. And then you had Alonso and Gasly still right up there battling too. And you don't often hold back the prancing horses if you're in a Williams, as we've seen in previous seasons. But on this day, Cass was not going to be denied. He used every trick in the book. He kept the car's width, but just enough. Just the car's width on the outside. And onto the final lap, he was really clinging on. Lucky we've got a Mercedes power unit at the back. It's pretty good. And the Ferrari power unit was not as strong as it used to be. It's gotten better the past few seasons, but it's still not quite up there. At least we thought with the Mercedes and the Hondas, maybe just a bit better than the Renault power unit. But Casper drove a superb defensive race from attack. Just a couple of laps prior to being incredibly defensive and driving the socks off the car in the last few laps. And even though you saw the McLarens in front, like, those were probably our targets if he didn't have a damaged car. Like, he could maybe have got that top 5 ahead of Norris and Ricciardo. But through the last few corners, now it's Verstappen won on home turf for Red Bull. Casper clung on so superbly, and this was the shape of things in the first half of the season. We're eagerly waiting what's going to happen in the second half of the year.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Akkerman's done well to finish in the points there, in stark contrast to his Williams teammate Aidan Jackson, who didn't even finish out.
Yeah, Jackson's looked off the pace all weekend. His performance just isn't where it should be. You can see the odd error creeping in on track too.
Well, if you believe the rumours, the Williams camp is not the happiest of places right now.
Yeah, and that can affect even the most experienced of drivers. I just hope Jackson gets his act together. He's a promising talent, and he's much better than this.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts.
Today's race certainly had its ups and downs for you, Casper. Are you pleased with that performance?
Yeah, it wasn't easy today. I somehow kept finding myself in the wrong place at the wrong time, so really happy to salvage some points. The safety car gave me a good opportunity to turn things around. Pretty pleased overall, yeah.
Speaking of the safety car, Devin Butler has gone on record calling you lucky to get the result you did. Did luck come into it today?
I think Devin sometimes struggles to accept any result that doesn't go his way. Look, we all know safety cars change races. Today was no different. If Devin watches the replay closely, he might see that luck didn't drive my car out there today. I did.
Teammate Aiden Jackson was forced to retire today. Would you say he's going through a bit of a rough patch?
I'm not here to talk about Aiden. You'll have to ask him about that.
Appreciate your time.
Ryan.
Cass, are you busy?
Well, actually,
Look, I need you to come to the office. Can you pop by now?
why? What's going on?
Nothing. I'll tell you all about it when you get here.
Can't you just tell me now?
Thanks so much, Casper. Really appreciate it.